Harvest. What does that mean? The word is defined as the activity of picking and collecting crops. But to us it is far more than that. Where does the loop begin? Where does it end? Essentially, the harvest of 2023 began as soon as 22 ended. Pruning is the first and a vital step in securing the quality of the new vintage. Treating every vine as the individual that it is essential to us. Therefore, we try to minimize the interruptions of the vine's sap flow by utilizing soft pruning in all our sites. Pruning is the calmest step of the entire winemaking process. The peacefulness of winter is transmitted to both vine and human. But pruning was only the calm before the storm, which would eventually become 2023. This year's season combined the climatic variety of a decade in a single year. Rainfall, drought, heat, and cold fronts took turns throughout the entire season. As a biodynamic producer, this obviously meant that our crop protection season was just as much as a roller coaster ride as the weather itself. But luckily, we came prepared. After last year's successful baptism of fire, our drone returned to the vineyard. After all, what is better than having a huge drone? Having two huge drones. And while we can now work twice as quick, it is also at least twice as cool. As our drones are roaring in the sky, the weeks seemingly blew by. When you couldn't hear the propeller, we were probably working in the cellar. And before the year became any duller, our berries started to show their color. Just as summer's warmth began to fade, our first harvest preparations were made. Lowering our yield to benefit our quality isn't something we must do every year on all our sites. This year we chose to do so as the weather extremes and the high yield would have taken too much energy away from our primary focus of producing the best possible grapes. Now we just had to wait for our ideas and our work to bear fruit. Grapes, to be precise. Like every year, finding the right time to start our harvest was the trickiest part. If you're too early, you can't exactly glue them back on. And if you're too late, well, there's always next year, right? On the 6th of September, we started this year's harvest with the Chardonnay for Heitlinger's Blanc de Blanc Sparkling.
Moment. Du weißt schon, dass wir den noch nicht offiziell angekündigt haben, oder?
Oh, ja, das erzählt schon keiner weiter. On the 11th of September, we started this year's harvest with the Oxoar from our große Lagersite Hassapfel, just like last year. In the days to come, we harvested fantastic qualities in all our white Pinot varieties. The trickiest variety this year was by far Pinot Noir. The high yield and sudden weather changes were a bit much for our mysterious friend's light temper. This meant that we had to radically handsaw every single berry to receive the quality that we strive for. But while this year's Pinot harvest might be a bit smaller, it is still bloody good. After a quite turbulent season, the weather during our harvest was mostly sunny and dry, which gave our sites a few more well-deserved and much-needed hours in the sun. Thanks to our hard-working team, consisting of more than 100 people, we could hand-pick every single grape and also check, and if necessary, double-check every individual berry before they may enter our cellar. Our Gutsweine, however, usually took a little detour. Right as they get off our air-suspended and refrigerated trailers, they meet our Employee of the Year and Gatekeeper to the cellar, the optical sorting machine. This bad boy checks every individual berry through a high-speed camera, then decides to what extent the quality standards such as color and size are met, and then precisely blows the positively sorted individual berry out, all in the blink of an eye. How does that work? Magic or something. As always, we try to minimize any kind of intervention in the cellar, so that we can translate the emotional story of each slope with the help of the right variety without changing any of the details that form the character of every wine. Fast, this means fermenting our wine spontaneously, avoiding additives, minimizing sulfur, and forklifting a tank instead of using a pump whenever possible. For us, it is essential that every single bottle that leaves our hands reflects the emotions that we and our vines felt during all stages of the process.